Yeah, it's been a while. Hey, I can't recall the last time we actually sat and had these interesting conversations. They were already brewing in the background. But yeah, it's good to be here. Lauren Hill always says, like sometimes you have to move away from the mic, go and live life, go gather more experiences, and then come back. You have something to record about. So welcome, gentlemen. Lorenzo,
Yes, man.
how's it?
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's good to be back. Yeah, appreciate the time
Back in the hot
and the
seat.
space.
Thank you for hosting us as well.
Sure.
The weather is good. We're very grateful to be here. X-Men,
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been very busy. Yeah, and things are still happening, right? So this is just a break where we could get together again and shoot.
yeah, the contrast next to you, Maurice. Black and white, white and black.
Exactly, the contrast being that it's been ups and downs, smiles and frowns, but we keep mastering on.
Nice.
How have you been?
No, amazing. Grateful as always. Life is good. So, I was having a conversation with my colleagues the other day. So, we seldom go to the office. So, when we do go to the office, we've got a lot to talk about, right? So, I go to the office, catch up with my colleagues. As always, I'm looking icy and good.
Yes, sir.
So, we spoke about something, right? I had these nice glasses on.
These same ones.
No,
I was going to ask the same
Yeah.
question.
no. And so my colleague says to me, yeah, but like some of us can't. I said, no, you can, right? You're choosing not to. It's not that you can't. And I understand people's priorities. And then she said something to me. She said, well, we're still putting our money for retirement, right? And then I said to her, what would you like to have as a minimum for your retirement, right? And she spewed an amount there. And I said to her, okay, do you think that amount that you've just basically said to me would be enough at that point in time, in 20, 30, 40 years from now? And she said, probably not. And I said, so you basically, you're postponing your now for something that's yet to happen in the future, that of which you do not even know what it will look like when you approach it. So hence I said today I want to have this conversation about you living in the moment, living in the present. And before I allow you guys to engage me in this conversation, there's a saying that if you live in the past, you are depressed.
Yeah.
If you live in the future, you are anxious. If you live in the present, you are at peace. You are in total acceptance of yourself and your circumstances. Okay, the floor is yours.
And when you were dressed icy, were you wearing that knit shirt as well?
So what do you think?
it's a lot to unpack. Look, I tend to agree. I think that, as individuals, we're way too concerned about what hasn't happened, what we perceive to happen. And to your point, we don't actually know that it will turn out that way. I do, however, think that there's merit to it. I think, if I'm speaking in a very general sense, how we've grown up and sort of the upbringings that we've had, you kind of see where things could have been different and things could have been better for yourself and your family and for those that sort of came before yourself. And you almost then want to try and get ahead, if that makes sense. In prepping for the next and prepping for 5 years, 10 years from now, so that you know that when I am at the age at which I'm having the conversation with, like, my mom or my dad or my grandparents, that I'll be more comfortable than what they are. And I would say that for me is like there's merit to it because of just what we've been exposed to. So I guess having to tell someone or even to relate to someone, live in the moment. Don't be too concerned about those things that are yet to come. It's a bit of an adjustment, like an acclimation that needs to take place. For individuals. But that's sort of my first take on that.
My thing is like, and that's very important, but how do you live in the moment? So people are so, if I look at it, people are so accustomed to living in the past and the future, right? But then how do we then tell people live in the moment? Because you'll find out that people are living in the past because of, let's say, difficulties, trauma, and they haven't dealt with that before, right? And then also when it comes to the future, as you mentioned, your colleague, you know, she's looking out to the future and how she might retire and that's, so my thing is, how do you again go about, is there any formula or anything to say like, let's live in the moment, let's have fun today? And I think I mentioned it to you a couple of weeks ago where I read something where someone said like, don't keep your good clothing for
Special occasions.
Yeah. Every day
is a special
occasion. And that hit me so, you know, like, yes, every day is a special occasion. And I mean, like, we've seen a lot of people leaving us, you know, and they probably had something stashed away, good expensive garment. They thought they might wear someday, but they didn't get to that. So it's really important, as you mentioned, like to live in the moment, in the present. Like if you have that expensive garment, wear it, rock it. You know?
I think for me, X-Men, it's so much about living an illusion. I think people don't realize that tomorrow doesn't exist and yesterday doesn't exist. It's gone. There's nothing you can do to manipulate what happened yesterday today. There's nothing you can do to manipulate the future tomorrow. You can try and convince yourself that you can. I always say, think of it this way. You put out an outfit for tomorrow, right? You plan your day for tomorrow. You say, okay, this is what I'm going to wear, right? And then boom, the weather says, no, not today.
Yeah.
What does that event tell you? That isolated event or incident tells you. It tells you that tomorrow does not exist because you planned for it. For good reason, even. You just don't want to wake up and then not know what to basically pick and end up being late, right? But the day turned out the exact opposite of what you had actually planned for it. And so I think for me, and again, like I'm just going to be a little bit spiritual, and I think for me, like we need to understand that tomorrow doesn't belong to us. Tomorrow belongs to God, right? So like let God worry about your tomorrow. You take care of your today, because you start basically fascinating about what the future will look like. There's so many moving objects that will actually alter the outcome of that future that you've planned so well for. You sat down and you've drafted it, you know. And this is funny. Actually, if you have a conversation with people, you ask them like, are you happy where you are? They will say, you know what, I'm actually not where I'm supposed to be, right? And that's the basis of their problem. How can you get to where you want to be if you're already stuck in where you need to be? That means you're neglecting where you are. And sometimes we just need to be where we are in order for us to get where we need to be. And until we get past that level, that point, right, we will never graduate to the next level. School, for instance, you don't go to the next grade unless you fulfill all the requirements of this current grade. No matter what your desires are about getting to the next grade. Same as a gaming system, right? You play level 1, And if you pass level 1, then you basically graduate to level 2. You don't over fascinate about level 2 while you're busy with level 1. Otherwise, you're not making it to level 2. You're going to keep losing and losing and failing and failing. And so then the frustration of life not being fair comes in. It creeps into play. And then you say, oh, life is not fair because you're not present. You're not present. Everything is passing you by because you are daydreaming. You're thinking about tomorrow I'll have this. Tomorrow I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to be there. Well, why not be as if right now? You know? So there's an element of people just being I don't want to say deluded, but for lack of a better term, being deluded about thinking that they can do anything about their past and tomorrow. The only thing you can do about your past is to accept it. If you need to heal, you need to heal now. You cannot heal back then, you heal now. So any action that you need to take for the future, it's an action that you take right now, in the present moment. Maurice, you are awfully quiet.
Yeah, no, I'm just observing, wondering how come my drink is finished.
Because you drank all your future.
Kind of beat me to the punch there. I was going to say, that's your past now. Stop worrying about your past.
He drank all his future. Now he's watching all of us actually enjoy, our pension.
Yeah,
Here's the other thing.
disappointment
Before
about
you chime in, just going back to that earlier conversation. Again, guys, this is not to basically take a jab at our generation. But if you really look at our generation, we're not the most healthiest either.
Yeah.
So now let's suppose you do have that money stored, right? You have it saved and the inflation is good, so it's not eating away your money, right? Everything is well positioned for you. You want to do the traveling. You want to start living life now, right? After you've worked hard all your life. Now you just want to enjoy life. Boom, you are not exercising because all you do is work. You're barely getting time to go and exercise. You barely get time to go and sit down and meditate and just basically have time to yourself. So you've been basically working, right? For your future. Now the future is here, right? But your body is paying the price. You can't live your future now. You can't basically travel and basically climb the Mount Everest. It was one of your dreams. You can't do this. You can't ski. You can't do any of those things because you are not in a very good physical condition. So then what's the point? Most people are complaining about their knees already. They're in their early 30s, but they're complaining about their knees. Imagine when you're 65. What will your knees be? So if you really think about it, it's like people postpone their lives for a future contingency, right? And then when that future contingency comes, it's like the conditions are slightly different now. You can't, you're complaining. In fact, you're busy even taking care of your health.
Yeah,
That money
that's true.
goes into you taking care of your health.
That's true.
now you're regretting and thinking, if only I did that and if only I did this when I could have done it. Because I mean now, you can't climb, you can't walk. A lot of places when you travel, you need to walk around. What's the point of driving around? I mean, when people go to garden route and what people want to get out of their vehicles and walk around and touch the sand and do things, and now you can't do any of that. You either have to be walking with crutches or with the wheelchair. Just defeats the purpose. Look, I mean, you can't avoid also certain things. You can't predict the future to say you won't get an injury and these things won't become a part of your life. But what we're saying is that while you can do things, don't put things off for tomorrow. Don't put things that you can do today for tomorrow. For tomorrow may not come. So grab the opportunity. I mean, like to the point. I think there's a video I saw just today about this guy speaking about $100 bill and what the $100 bill value was in the 70s, 1973 versus what it is today. And they were having a bit of a conversation about it. Even they were speaking about the golden time in the US where people actually had bought properties working as a general worker. You were able to buy a property and a vehicle. Today you can't do that. There's people that has to do. I think I saw one video guy being a doctor, and then as he knocks off, he drives Uber or something like that.
Yeah.
But maybe he's paying for some other stuff, child support or something like that. Because the other stuff may also come cripple you. And nappies. Yeah, so the situation, yeah, you just can't predict it. But like, I mean, you can at least, try do the best that you can do when you can do it.
But now let's bring. I ask again because we have people watching, viewers. Is there a step-by-step process of living in the present? Because you'll find that there's people who are really battling, right? And they have no way out, or they think that they have no way out, because the world is like just. So what do we have to say, like how people can live for today? And yeah.
I think that's a good question, X. I mean, I think I was gonna maybe ask you this question, Brian, but I think it's so easy just to say, like be present, be in the moment, and those types of things. I don't even want to go as far as say it might be relative, right? To each their own in terms of how they see the moment and experience the moment and be present. But is it maybe also not an element of just not being understanding of either what it means to be in the moment, or just not you being fully present and acknowledging the fact that you're not at the point at which you should be right now? And thus, how do I then pivot or shift, or what is it, a switch that is flipped? Is it a progression of some sort? And then to Xavier's point, like how, I guess maybe this is again where each of us have our own way of thinking about it and going about it, but what would we then deem as the steps to potentially living in the moment, or what has worked for you?
I think the first thing I would think about, like, it may not have been working for me, but it's a thing that just by the question coming up that I'm thinking about it is, first of all, to make the conscious decision to do it. Let's forget about the action. Let's just say be conscious, be decisive, be focused on living in the moment. Just like verbalize it, or however you do it, like stand in the mirror and be like, today I'm going to be conscious. Start off at that point. Second point is then you may need to seek professional guidance, a plan of some sort. There's a lot of facilities that's available, phone call away, email away, down the road, or whatever the case is, where there's professional, some form of guidance counselors or something like that can actually help you. Because if you're speaking about underlying things, you can't just be like, I'm not gonna address those things. I have to maybe work with it in tandem. So you be conscious that, well, this is what I want to see for myself. I want to live in the moment. I want to be present. Point 2, I need to now address whatever is stopping me from living in the present. So now you'd sit with the professionals, plan out your life, dissect what is problematic, and then from there, that road to where you actually want to be.
That's a very good one, Maurice. I'm gonna take a slightly different approach to yours. Let's look at these two phenomena, the past and the future. The past, if you dwell too much on the past, it means you're feeling stuck, right? And if you dwell too much on the future, it means you're in a hurry. You are rushing to get something. So here's a perfect example for that. Again, I like to make my points using stories. I'm going to take a temporary detour. A person I know got a very important certification, right, in cyber. They shared the material with their wives, right? And the company that was offering this certification. This certification is so crucial that it opens doors for you. People will basically sort your expertise. They will look for you. You won't even do the hunting yourself. They hunt you because of that. So this person was getting congratulated on LinkedIn, and everybody's like, wow, this is so good. Well done. And shared the material a week later, right? And the company that was offering this course had to revoke his certification and burn him for 2 years. Now, when I said to you, we have to wake up from a dream and start living reality. So there is life, and then there is what we deem as life, which is like these things that we work hard to attain to make us feel good. So when I say to a colleague, the pension money is not yours, it's not guaranteed. It can be taken away from you by either a circumstance or by a condition.
Yeah.
The same goes for the external achievements, the degree. If you're a doctor with a practicing license, you do one silly thing, they can revoke your license, even if you've had success for 15 years. So actually, when you really think about it, right, if you're a doctor who's been postponing life, you're not there for your family, right? Every day you work, you wake up in the morning, you go do and service your clients, you get the adulation, it's all good and well. And you come back home, you're tired, you rest, you sleep, right? You kiss your family to bed, bye, and then you wait, you say it's for you. One time you make a mistake, a career-changing mistake, and they say we are taking away.
I think I heard of that situation. It was a doctor that kept on doing prostate exams for him.
It's not a specific. It's not a
Even for
specific
flu,
doctor.
cough once and cough twice.
They revoke your license, so you cannot practice anymore. So then the question you should be asking is, were you living life, right? So then we have to expand, Maurice. We have to expand that being like futuristic sometimes can be to your detriment, because you're always concerned and worried about, getting all these things. And I can tell you right now, most people are preoccupied with things rather than living. Living is sitting down. Guys, there's nothing wrong with sitting down and not doing anything. Some will say that's idle time, you're wasting time, you should be doing productive things. No. When do you get to monitor your thoughts? When do you get to actually feel you can't feel your body if you're always
On the go,
moving on the go.
around. Yeah.
But sometimes when you just sit down in silence and not do much, you say, there is slight pain somewhere here, right? And then you ask yourself, what is causing this pain? You are present, right? So these exercises, they are very simple. They do not need, I heard him talking about speaking to a professional. I can tell you right now, most people that actually speak to professionals, they speak to them for 5 to 10 years. They even brag about it. I'm seeing a therapist. My therapist of 5 years, I'm like, if I have to see a therapist for longer than 5 sessions, then there's something that's not happening, because we think help comes from them. No. Help comes from us. We also get addicted to the fact that you get to listen to me. I get someone who gets to listen to me uninterrupted. So you love the fact that, I have your full attention. And maybe somewhere, somehow, you feel like someone is not giving you the attention you want, and you get someone that gives you attention. No, go within yourself. Go find yourself. And most of us, we're avoiding help that we already know. This is the problem. This is my root problem. But we don't want to go there, because we know us going there will force us into a solution. Sometimes we enjoy just talking about challenges, issues, because people get to feel sorry for us, People get to say, oh, you know what, people are so cruel. How could they do that to you? We enjoy that. No, living is not something that you can outsource. Living is something that you yourself, you need to take the initiative and say, you know what, I want to do this for myself. And the way that you can do it is, firstly, recognize what truly matters in life, right? And if you're out there thinking that whatever it is that I'm doing for my family, I will tell you right now, your family wants your love, not your 7 hours of overtime. That does help, yes, but more importantly, it is your love that they actually want. It is your presence that they actually want. It is your attention, because you are so fixated with your future that you are always thinking about, you know what, if I do this, this will be in place. If I do this, this will be in place. For the things that aren't even ours. So look now, here's another classic example. The S&P 500 was down how many percent the other day? That's someone's future of how many years? 10 to 15 or 20 years. So that means that you've worked so hard to put that money away so that you can basically retire comfortably, right? Come the 11th hour, you lose your 15 years just like that.
In couple of minutes.
In couple of minutes, right? Because someone turned off a wrong switch and you realize that, ooh, and now what you could have done with that money, again, everything is relative, right? So the 4 million that you basically said it would be enough for you to retire on as a minimum is now equivalent to 400,000, right? And because you delayed 100,000 back then, 100,000 that was equivalent to even $1 million in relative terms when you go to other places, just because you didn't want to do things. Other people complain about buying food to feed themselves when they have money in the bank account, but because they just want to have money in the bank account for the sake of having money in the bank account. They don't want to use it. They feel pain when they have to use it. Oh, this is too expensive. This milk is too expensive. But you need it, but you're complaining. You go home, you're holding 2 bags of plastic, you're angry. You're angry and not grateful. That's not living, that's not life. Because somewhere, somehow, someone told you that if you do not save up this much, then you are doing something wrong with your life. You know, if you don't have this much in your investment, then you're doing something wrong with your life. So now every time you spend your money on yourself, you frown, you're not happy, because someone told you that you're doing something wrong.
You must be guilty for spending your money, for living in the moment.
Now you're guilty for spending money living in the moment, because you are basically fulfilling someone else's prophecy about what life should be. It's not their life, it's your life. And you know the other mistake that we make as okay, you guys, in fact, all of you guys grew up in Joburg, right? Well, this is also, you can also relate to this. It's relevant to you guys as well. But I'm going to use us as an example. We come from Eastern Cape, right? With our own set of dreams, right? We meet Maurice in Joburg with his own set of dreams, and we're like, ooh, there's something wrong with my dreams. Let me alter them now. Now I adopt his dreams. Now I wonder why I'm not happy. He's happy, he's enjoying it. I'm like, how is this guy actually happy? But I'm not. I have everything he has, but I'm not happy. Because you're not living your life. You're lying to yourself. And so that's not life. That's not living. So if every time you have to borrow from someone else's chapter, right, and not yours is already written. You know what you want. You know, your soul will scream out for the things that you want. But your mind and the things that you collect will deceive you into thinking this is what you want, you know. And we will never enjoy the same things. You know what you want. You know what's good for you, you know. And I always tell people, I tell my colleagues as well when they say, why don't you venture into this? And I'm like, no, that's not my path. I am capable. Don't get me wrong. And I've got ambition.
Yeah.
Don't mistake it for lack of ambition. It's just not what I want. It's not going to fulfill me. I know what fulfills me. I can go this route and I could be successful. But also I could lose myself in the process and not feel like, you know what, I'm doing something that I truly love, and I feel like, you know what, this is a big part of why I'm alive, I'm living. No. So I say, no, I can't do this. And sometimes just say no without even providing an explanation why, because you don't owe it to anybody. So these are some of the things, you know, like you just adopt things, you take things from people. It's like, why? So you have to be honest with yourself. Only you know You know what your soul wants. You know what you want. So why should you be pressured into any situation? And don't actually lie to yourself and think that you have the power to basically control or dictate what happens in your future.